We just witnessed a Ripple employee completely confirm the overall plan. Listen, this has been something that I've been talking about for months on end, saying that this is exactly what's going to happen. And we just got confirmation from a Ripple employee recently regarding that plan that confirms that that's the move that Ripple is currently in the process of making. Welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. So first, let's start off with the fact that Ripple recently just posted this on their X account. Global businesses need fast, low-cost ways to move money. RLUSD is now integrated into Ripple payments, enabling real-time cross-border payments backed by institutional-grade compliance, transparency, and trust. Now, this is not all about RLUSD. We have stablecoins for payments, faster, lower cost cross-border payments, right? If we look into this, we have technology's influence is growing exponentially, and it has already modernized countless industries from medicine and commerce to manufacturing and agriculture. Yet cross-border payment systems remain trapped in the past as legacy infrastructure adds unnecessary complexity to global money movement. International payments should be fast, affordable, and seamless. Stablecoins offer an alternative to traditional payment rails with real-time settlement, lower cost, lower fees, right? Increased transparency and greater accessibility. Now, they do also look at the stablecoin market. These advantages have helped the stablecoin adoption surge across businesses and financial institutions, with the total stablecoin market cap surpassing $210 billion earlier this year. In 2022 alone, fiat-backed stablecoins processed almost $7 trillion, surpassing MasterCard and also PayPal in transaction volume. Now, they do mention stablecoin payments themselves. Again, we already know what stablecoin payments are. I don't think that you guys need the rundown. You guys are smart enough. But here we actually have the benefits of stablecoin payments: faster, smarter payments, lower cost, more reliable payments, enhanced security, expand accessibility. And then here we have how the payment flows actually work. Again, you already know how they work. I don't think that you guys need a rundown of this. But here we have what to look for in a stablecoin payments platform. Now, this is where we start to kind of see a few things focused on, specifically the level in which Ripple is operating. So not all stablecoins or the platforms that support them are created equal. For businesses and financial institutions looking to integrate stablecoin payments, choosing the right provider is essential. A reliable stablecoin payments platform should prioritize compliance, transparency, and interoperability. This is exactly what Ripple is doing. And I don't want to say that there's silent shots being taken here at like Tether, for an example, but it feels as if there is. We have more frameworks for stablecoin regulation are emerging, making it crucial to work with partners that adhere to strict financial regulations and maintain transparent reserve backing. The best platforms also offer global payout capabilities, allowing businesses to seamlessly send and receive payments across multiple markets. Ripple already has access to 90% of the FX market, so what better global payout capabilities and coverage do you need than tapping into Ripple? And then, of course, we do have stablecoins for cross-border payments with Ripple. Now, they do highlight the fact that RLUSD is issued under a New York Limited Purpose Trust Company charter, which is one of the biggest charter licenses out there that you can get. Like, this license is so bullish for Ripple to actually have under its belt. I put a spotlight on this recently as well, and I will continue to, because that completely sets Ripple apart from any other stablecoin issuer. RLUSD is 100% backed by US dollar deposits, government bonds, and other cash equivalents, and is audited monthly by BPM, a leading accounting and consulting firm. Now, they also do talk about the 90 plus payout markets, the $70 billion in transaction volume that Ripple Payments has already processed, and how RLUSD is already tapped into this. Designed specifically for enterprise and institutional use, RLUSD offers instant settlement for cross-border payments, integration with DeFi protocols, and liquidity access for remittances and treasury operations. Unlike stablecoins built primarily for retail users, RLUSD is tailored to high-value financial transactions with a focus on compliance, security, and transparency. Already available on global exchanges like Revolut, LMAX, and Zero Hash, RLUSD is making stablecoin payments more accessible to businesses worldwide. Ripple customers like BKK Forex and iSend are using it to streamline global payment flows and leveraging Ripple's global payout network, which represents more than the 90% of the daily FX markets. Now, we do know that we also got confirmation recently from a job offering, right? A job offering on Ripple's website that they are going to look into additional stablecoins on the network. This is where we start to speculate on RL Euro, RL Yen, and you could, name all of the other fiat currencies out there as well, because when we think about this video going back to February of this year, this got posted by Rowan Exchange. This was their new promo video, Ripple's new promo video regarding the Internet of Value. Within this video, they highlight almost every single fiat currency out there. Obviously, they do have XRP, Bitcoin on here as well, but we do see some significant reserve currencies out there, or sorry, not reserve currencies, fiat currencies, including, of course, the US dollar, which is the reserve currency. But if we look at this, right, you have the euro on here, you have the pound on here, you have the yen, again, like every single major fiat currency tapped in one video. Why are all of these fiat currencies listed here on this new promo video regarding the Internet of Value if Ripple was not going to engage on additional stablecoin initiatives to support all of these other stablecoins, aka a RL pound or an RL euro or an RL yen? I do think that that's upcoming. Now, when we think about that, we go back to November, where Société Générale Forge announced the launch of USV stablecoin on the XRP ledger in 2025, this year. Now, we didn't really hear much about this, and in fact, a lot of people actually said, well, guess what? They ditched XRP and they went over to Stellar because they also announced the same thing with Stellar. But we just recently got confirmation from a recent event. Big shout out to Crypto Airy for this. The US Europe MD Casey Craddock for Ripple in Paris. This is a clip that Airy created. Confirms Euro stablecoin on the XRP ledger. Bank grade custody was critical since it is the entry point to an end-to-end solution. For retail, expect wallet custody competition to heat up big time. Listen closely to this video clip.
Hi everyone, I'm Cassie Craddock, Managing Director for the UK and Europe at Ripple. I've been at Ripple for 8 years now, so it's been quite the journey from, convincing banks to partner on a network to send cross-border payments, right through to being able to provide banks and financial institutions end-to-end digital asset infrastructure through payments, through custody, through stablecoin, and through tokenization use cases that we're going to talk about today. I think what's really been interesting from a Ripple perspective, I'm responsible for Europe, and I think what we've seen over the last year, 18 months, 2 years or so is MiCA has really given banks and financial institutions this level of certainty to be able to lean into the blockchain and digital asset space. And so we've seen some really great innovative use cases on the back of that. So, we partnered with SocGen Forge, one of the leading banks here in France, firstly around custody, but now more broadly on issuing their Euro CV stablecoin on XRP Ledger. There are many other use cases that we're partnering, our customers are partnering with us on around money market funds and bringing those on chain. And we're actually seeing that trend continue to increase as we start to see more institutional interest in this space. On the Ripple side, we're solving kind of the trapped liquidity issue with our cross-border payment product and enabling financial institutions to better service their customers by enabling them to have instant real-time payments through a kind of network of partners that enables to move cash from A to B. Now that could be physical cash, it could be stablecoins, it could be using XRP, and I think that's a really interesting, use case that we've seen mass adoption over the years from. And then just generally speaking, I think from our perspective, solving that cross-border payment problem was a first step. Doing that and building the infrastructure to be able to do that in a sophisticated way for banks and financial institutions just led us down the path of owning that kind of end-to-end digital asset infrastructure. And so the custody technology was really critical for us to acquire back in 2023 because we know that custody is the entry point. before you do anything in digital asset, whether you're thinking about tokenization, whether you're thinking about payments or thinking about NFTs or whatever you're thinking about, you need to get your custody right, and you need bank grade custody. And so that critical piece of infrastructure is something that's now enabling us to partner with banks and financial institutions for them to tokenize, for them to create use cases that maybe we don't want to lean into, but to be able to use our technology to do that. I think it's really important, and Adila and I, we work, given that we're the largest developer on the XRP ledger, Ripple wants to solve institutional financial use cases, right? But we want to create ecosystems where developers are pushing the boundaries, and I think that's been really interesting to see how these developers or these financial institutions leverage our technology to be able to, I guess, drive the future of financial services forward. User experience. Good user experience means that these, banks and financial institutions or consumers of these products, they need really good infrastructure to be able to power it. They need the right custodians, they need the right wallet, they need the right compliance tools to be able to really kind of power this on a truly global scale. And I think there are early signs and indications that both of these are in place, but I think we have we do have quite the journey to go in order to be able to really truly create this on a global scale.
So when we really think about this, right, number one, the Euro stablecoin is still confirmed. It is going to be hitting the XRP ledger, which means we have multiple global fiat currencies tapped in already. The number one thing to really kind of listen to when we hear these discussions from these Ripple employees is their focus, right? The entire time throughout that video clip, you heard institutional grade adoption, enterprise grade adoption. We're going after institutional grade, use cases here. The main focus still is cross-border payments. Okay, and just to really kind of break this down for you guys, when we think about cross-border payments, we think about, bringing it on chain, because all of the inefficiencies, everything that's plaguing that, market in a negative way, it's all because of the original financial system. We think about the antiquated rails in which cross-border payment still runs on. Okay, so all of those big inefficiencies are immediately solved when things are starting to move through something like a stablecoin. Okay, and I think that Stellar saw this as well with like the MoneyGram partnership, which, by the way, Ripple already originally had anyways. Because when you start moving through digital assets or stablecoins, all of those major inefficiencies start to get completely, tossed away. You no longer have to worry about them. All of the original obstacles are completely broken down, and now you start to see payments moving, extremely fast, settled extremely fast, lower cost. I mean, again, if we just go back to this document over here, you could see everything, right? Real-time settlement, lower fees, increased transparency, greater accessibility. Again, even with the increased transparency, like that might not seem like a big deal, right? Like, oh, it's just transparency. Like we could see, the payments. But that's the problem, right? With cross-border payments, specifically anything like, any payment that you make overseas, there's practically zero transparency on it. There's practically zero tracking of, if that payment got there or not. So again, when we think about what's going on here, to bring cross-border payments on chain, first, you need to have the support of every single fiat currency. That's why I do think that all of these stablecoin launches, like a lot of people think like, oh yeah, like RLUSD is really not that big. It's a stablecoin, so it completely kills XRP's use case. No, it's the beginning of bringing the FX market and cross-border payments on chain. Like once you have RLUSD and once you have RL Euro or, RL Yen or all of these stablecoins on chain, like even recently we heard about the Brazilian Real stablecoin launching on the XRP ledger as well. Like you could start to see the big picture, being painted for you. All you have to do is really kind of look beyond just the announcement or look beyond the noise that's, out there and really kind of see what's happening here. We know stablecoins are becoming a much bigger deal. All right. We've been hearing about it from, Congress. We actually have over here from Chairman Hill, a properly regulated stablecoin market can strengthen the US dollar's dominance. Again, what this really confirms is that the US is ready to flood trillions through stablecoins. They want to bring, stablecoins to life within the US market. They want to integrate stablecoins within the US market. They want to make sure that they are leaders here because, again, the number one thing to focus on here is not so much the success of stablecoins, but it's so much about the US being a global leader within the digital financial system. Because again, this is becoming a reality. And having these stablecoins also become very successful just around like, you know, a US dollar denominated stablecoin or even a euro stablecoin. Even the UK just recently put out an article talking about how a UK stablecoin, in terms like a digital pound, could support the UK financial system. Every single nation is now on board here. So when we think about this, this is the beginning stages of cross-border payments and the FX market moving on-chain. This will equal trillions and trillions of dollars. It's not a selling point. It's not a marketing scheme. This will be trillions of dollars. It's not clickbait. It's not some nonsensical, discussion about how XRP goes to $45,000 because of this. No, it's facts here. Like, we're talking about trillions and trillions of dollars, markets that are hundreds of trillions of dollars. The FX market is $7.5 trillion per day. Like, these are not some small time markets, and it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen very quick, but they're starting to move on chain. And it seems as though Ripple is a big leader here. It seems as though the XRP ledger will play a vital role here. And it also supports the original use case of XRP, which was to be positioned as a bridge currency within the cross-border payments market anyways. Because again, all of these different stablecoins, it's not just going to be a US dollar stablecoin market. No, it's going to be, a multi-currency market. It's going to include all of the major fiat currencies. You need that bridge between all of them. So it strengthens XRP's use case, which will also lead to XRP being extremely valuable. I mean, that's just facts. But it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen extremely fast. This is something that we have to be patient on. And I know that we hate to hear that. I know that we hate to talk about that. But, do you want me to say, hey, guess what? You got to wait for XRP, to become extremely valuable through something like the FX market or cross-border payment market? Or do you want me to come on here and lie to you guys and say, yeah, XRP is going to go to $10,000 overnight because, I said so? No. We're here for the actual facts. We're here for the realistic outlook. And we're also here to really kind of witness, individuals that are in the driver's seat tell us, guess what? A euro stablecoin is coming to the XRP ledger. Yes, we're going to be focused on, institutional grade use cases. Custody was a huge piece of the pie because that is the key that opens the door of opportunity for tokenization use cases, payment use cases, and this is where we start to see, the big banks really kind of unlocking so many different use cases just from one thing, which is, of course, custody. So when we really think about what's happening here, this is a big deal. Right? It's a huge deal. And it confirms my original idea anyways of the fact that, yeah, we're going to see a euro stablecoin on the XRP ledger. We're going to see every single fiat currency stablecoin on the XRP ledger as well. And I think that that's very clear by, what's happening right now around the XRP ledger. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because of more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.